After so many years speculating about what AI would be like, we have crossed the threshold into the age of AI, and we bear witness as it enters our realities, impacting us through competitive media markets in the spring of 2024.
They're not clever, they're just big. So big. When I say it's analyzed 94 billion permutations of text, no human can comprehend that what that means.
ChatGPT, text-to-image generators, text-to-video generators, AI machine learning. The predictive algorithms providing the interface, the gateway to our feeds, which show us curated worlds and stories.
Everyone is trying to vie for our eyeballs, right? What's going to rise above that sea of noise?
AI is impacting the entertainment industry, home of the films and television series we hold close to our hearts.
AI is inevitable. It's here. There's no stopping it.
Things that you didn't think were possible now becoming real.
I think increasingly people are starting to talk about it and worry that they're going to lose their jobs to it.
Artificial intelligence is what we call a general technology. It's like electricity. When electricity was first invented, could you possibly have predicted what it was going to do to society? No.
We started telling stories on film about 130 years ago, but in that short time, movies and television have captured our human experience and helped us dream about what's possible. Our first documented stories can be found on cave walls. According to Marshall McLuhan, we have passed through different eras of communication. In the tribal age, we told stories orally. In the literate age, we told stories on stone tablets, and our dominant mythologies were put into handwritten books. The print age gave birth to novels and a huge variety of stories, but the electronic age brought stories over the radio and stories on the big screen, and then broadcast television brought new cultural mythologies to us in our living rooms. Some say that when the internet became a medium, we entered yet another age, the digital age, and the smartphone put access to a whole world of stories right in our hand. And social media changed the way we engage with stories as we watch bite-sized clips that compete for our attention one moment at a time. We listen to podcasts, we watch user-generated content on YouTube. Stories and video games have become so grand and complex they are now major motion pictures, and our larger mythologies and stories continue to manifest in the realm of film and streaming services. We tell epic stories in film and television. For example, Breaking Bad is one of the best-rated, most extraordinary TV shows of all time. Imagine going back in time and telling Charlie Chaplin or Alfred Hitchcock that this masterpiece of visual storytelling is 48 hours long, that it was released on broadcast television but moved to streaming. Imagine explaining what binging is. You'd have to explain the medium. Communication scholar Marshall McLuhan said, "The medium is the message." He believed all media was an extension of ourselves, a tool for the purpose of expanding our ability to communicate. We shape our tools, and then our tools shape us.
So while it expands our ability to tell stories, it also itself imposes certain qualities on the story itself, and based on the technology and the time, the era we're in.
As AI is becoming our new medium for communicating our visual stories, it's impacting an industry that is just now winding back up from COVID and the strikes. Strikes brought about in part by fears about AI, particularly around writers being impacted by AI and actors concerned about being fairly compensated if their likeness or voice was replicated by AI. Overall viewership is down in both streaming services and the worldwide box office. And it's in these uncertain times that AI comes bearing promises of streamlined workflows, innovation, and saving money. But AI has already had a major impact on the industry. Netflix changed everything. The success of streaming services has already brought a foundational shift to the film and television industries, upsetting the entire business model in what has been called a generational disturbance.
It's definitely different. I mean, we have huge Oscar-winning actors that will absolutely do a television series if the script is good enough. Not that many years ago, that would never happen. It was, beneath them, but now that's where the money is.
Netflix has grown to be a media giant, and it owes its success to its recommendation system. Powered by machine learning, it influences 80% of what its audience watches. They found that the best predictor of what a customer will choose is the thumbnail. Using a process called aesthetic visual analysis, AI combs through 86,000 video frames for a 1-hour show to select which images you are more likely to engage with. They know that you will only look for about 8 seconds, and you'll only give the platform 90 seconds before you try another streaming app. The thumbnails you see on Netflix are unique to your profile. And the success of the streaming service distribution model made streaming the ultimate destination for movies and series, and it changed how they are monetized, how the people who bring you these visual stories get paid. The streaming model pays everyone less, and the work is less reliable.
Network TV ruled everything if you worked in television, but you'd have 24 episodes and work for 9 to 10 months. And now with streaming, it's 6 to 8 episodes, maybe 10, maybe 12. So that really changes how you plan your life and you live your life, not knowing that, oh yeah, in 2.5 months, I'll be back at my job again. It's the constant look for work. You're always searching for the next thing.
One positive development to come from this is that Netflix now has studios all over the world, because to create revenue, they are focusing on curating content for specific regions, the highest growth being in Africa and Asia. That means we get news stories in our feeds, and AI tools will soon be able to make actors' mouths appear as if they are speaking any language and look realistic.
There can be a multitude more stories that are told because we have information on many more areas and regions and people watching. But what happens to the nature of stories as they are quantitatively driven?
AI tools such as Scriptbook claim to be able to choose and help develop the most promising scripts. Their logo is hard science, better content, relying on AI to crunch massive amounts of data in order to make decisions about stories to appeal to specific demographics. But we have a bias problem with AI. It's embedded in the technology, and great minds are busy at work trying to sort it out. In her viral TED Talk, The Danger of a Single Story, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie said about stories: how they are told, who tells them, when they are told, how many stories are told, are really dependent on power.
That's one of the problems we do deal with all the time in artificial intelligence, is bias, because it hasn't been sufficiently trained. That's something that concerns me. That's racial bias, that's gender bias. And it's not a question, and it's not a problem with the AI, it's a problem with the humans who trained the AI.
There may be a lot of room for stereotyping and pandering to demographics involved in Synalytic's claim to offer 85% box office forecasting accuracy. And these tools are so new, their true effects cannot be adequately gauged yet. According to Synalytic, in horror movies, if a demon is summoned, like with a Ouija board, you'll have less of a box office hit than if the demon is a targeting demon. If it targets someone, you'll in theory have a bigger hit.
I get it. It's a business and they're in it to make money, but it's also art. That takes a lot of the art out of it, to me.
We have conventions in movies that are understood by people, that they've developed over the course of time, and what we do is we weave those conventions together. So if you want to get an AI to understand those and structure them up together, that's fine. The problem I have with AI generated creative content is it's not very creative. It's actually a rather pedestrian, bland style, because it's an average of what the whole human race does. So it'll only ever produce average material.
Like we don't necessarily want the mean, like the average thing amplified to the nth degree all the time, like sequels, superhero movies, remakes of nostalgic things that we liked in the past, doing the factory model of just like pump it together and produce a lot of stuff that will have a big impact and that people will buy in mass. And it's been very successful to a certain degree, but I think we're seeing the limits of how far you could take these ideas.
The data might say that the people really want to see a movie about a giant ant attacking, Chicago. Okay, great. Well, anybody can do that story and it can be crap. But can you make it meaningful with human relations, that they care about what's happening to the people that are getting attacked by the ant? I mean, I don't think AI is ever going to be able to predict the future completely. You have so many movies that now considered classics, you know, that were huge flops at the time. You never know, right?
In the area of production, AI has already impacted post-production software, appearing in DaVinci Resolve, and Adobe announces new AI in their products frequently. In pre-production, AI technologies such as Guerrilla Scheduling and The Producer sell the promise of streamlining scheduling and script breakdowns.
As a script supervisor, we'll see. I mean, I'm not quite sure how AI can handle continuity. As for my job on set, I'm not too worried yet. I'm not naive enough to think it couldn't happen, but I'm not too worried yet.
For camera, I'm seeing it already. I see there's less crew members than there used to be. Prior to that, first assistant camera person or a focus puller would stand at a monitor and pull focus. Now there's an attachment that you put on the camera.
But the most revolutionary way that AI could impact the industry is in text-to-video generation. We've already seen the impacts of text-to-image generation across many platforms, and artists have filed lawsuits against Midjourney and Runway, claiming AI used their work without permission.
Authorship, you know, like if you create an animated video using AI, and AI drew each of the pixels, drew each of the, you know, like images, each frame in the animation was rendered by AI. How much of it did you create and how much of it did the AI create, and who gets authorship? How much do you attribute to the data that the AI was trained on to allow you to create these things?
While Runway has problems creating realistic 4-second-long videos, something big is on the horizon. Just this year, OpenAI announced Sora, text-to-video generator. Realistic video on this level not only has implications for the film and television industry. Joshua Schrei of the Emerald podcast said, AI must be talked about mythically because we're entering an era whose only corollary is the stuff of fairy tales and myths. The powers that are being spoken of are powers that have only been discussed in the myths and the magical grimoires. You know, the ability to generate fully fledged realities with the snap of a finger. The age of metaphor is over. We are literally materializing things out of thin air and generating illusions that are indistinguishable from reality on a mass scale. Abracadabra, the magician speaks the invoking word. What does it mean? It means, as I speak, so it becomes. As I speak, so it is.
You wait till the elections come. We're already starting to see deep fakes, all that sort of stuff. So what does that mean? What it means is I learn just because it's a video doesn't mean it's true. It might have been made up by a machine.
There's a narrative convention found in many folktales and legends about a hero who encounters a magical being who bestows upon them special powers, but there are conditions attached, horrible repercussions, and costs that the protagonist spends the rest of their journey trying to sort out. In 2024, the year we see this massive leap in text-to-video generation, 64 countries are holding elections. In a recent study, AI is predicted to disrupt over 200,000 jobs in the entertainment industry. Foley artists, sound designers, animators, production assistants, storyboard artists, graphic designers, for example. Mostly affected will be entry-level jobs.
Where are the young people that are just starting in the business going to go for a job if this all goes away to AI? I see what's happening in Atlanta just from the Tyler Perry decision. And it's pretty scary. It's really scary. It's got so many people worried, you know, how am I going to make a living? I've always done this.
What about the big existential cost to humanity? Things that we offer in exchange for this magic. Philosophers talk about the cost to personal autonomy when we allow ourselves to become data, and then we allow that data to shape what we become.
So one of the areas I'm particularly concerned about is this centralization of artificial intelligence services into these gigantic, great big data centers, which are environmentally disastrous, and in terms of the potential for domination and control of people, an essential tool. Okay, so here's the deal. Human rights all over the world is based on the idea that you have autonomy, that you have the ability built into you to determine what is best for you. If you don't want to be a drone, then you've got to actively maintain your autonomy. That means you decide for yourself. Now, if Netflix recommend a film and I choose to watch it, that's one thing. But if I watch it simply because Netflix recommended it, I don't engage my own brain, I've lost my autonomy.
When we relinquish certain cognitive tasks, it's really hard to get them back. So think about like navigation, like before GPS, how, we would either have to print out or we would have a map.
AI is very good at figuring out what comes next, and to decide, it goes with the average of all available options. Will our stories be average? Our images mediocre?
So much stuff will be average that when something creative and positive comes through, it'll create a bigger impression on everybody because it becomes rarer.
Right now, being creative with AI text-to-image generation is somewhat possible, but trying to tell a story with AI text-to-video is a surreal story. This is a unique time in the history of text-to-video generation because to try to use AI at this very moment, it's just not very good yet. Kind of like Technicolor when it was advanced technology at that time, it has a certain flavor right now at this very moment. It's highly entertaining if you enjoy the surreal morphing worlds unfolding everywhere, and right as there's a psychedelic revolution going on too, but the process can be frustrating.
I don't think that it's joyful to try to get AI to generate the thing that I have in my head. It gets really annoying trying to steer AI to do something like very specific to what you want.
I think there's this like meta effect on storytelling that is inherent in whatever technology we have and the medium in it as well, that isn't obvious at first when we look back on them years from now, or even when Sora comes out. At first it'll be like, oh my God, these videos so cool. But then we'll look back on it and we'll be like, wow, these are so obviously Sora generated videos.
And all it's going to take is a 12-year-old kid in Niagara Falls who's got a YouTube channel, does an AI movie, and everybody loses their mind about it. Do you know what I mean? The kids that are playing now with the ChatGPT and the Soros, that is who's going to dictate what entertainment is in the future. The genie's out of the bottle, and it's not going to be the studios that are really going to be putting the AI entertainment out there. It's going to be DIY. It's going to be people just sitting in their bedrooms.
What stories are we telling ourselves about AI? That it increases efficiency? That it saves costs? Some terms that repeat in our media landscape around AI are democratizing and assistant.
When I think about creative technology and art, some of what it is imagining possible futures and then building towards it, showing what a hopeful future can be. Personally, I kind of find that use cases where the AI is used as like to augment someone's ability to expand what someone can do versus completely replace the creative works that someone can do. I think the augment use case can achieve results that are just far more interesting and creative than the automation approach. I feel like we'll see a whole range of stories that are similar to ones that we tell today, that AI will make easier for people to tell and easier for a wider range of people to tell. And then also like new kinds of stories that wouldn't have been possible otherwise.
Film and television are in decline. The gaming industry is booming, and it's a leader in interactive storytelling. Netflix does have some interactive storytelling options, and Meta keeps announcing that the metaverse is going to make a big splash, and they've announced it over and over again.
But am I going to sit in a business conference with that headset on so that I can interact with somebody? No, I've got a screen in front of me. I just look silly and it's weighty and heavy, and I don't use a virtual reality device too often because it strains the eyes and it's physically heavy on the head. It's not comfortable. I think it's a complete chimera. I don't think virtual reality will go that way. Not while we have the danger of making people throw up, and while we're asking them to put something extra on their face.
Maybe we collectively as a society will reject or rebel or just get sick of the computer experience, you know, like maybe we don't want to put on VR goggles to have like a really immersive storytelling experience. You just won't, you're just bored and sick of it. You know, it all starts to blend to become the same thing. And what really becomes interesting is limited resources, like being able to be together at the same time and to have the context to create, to play games together, to enjoy stories together in a collective experience. I would spend money to be part of an experience that happens in the real world with real people in real time. That's what's really exciting to me. I think that live performance is going to thrive. Like, who knows, maybe the AI apocalypse leads to a world that is not mediated with technology. Maybe we're in peak technology now, and that AI is going to eliminate all the need for us to do these Zooms and these, you know, all this screen time.
Okay, I tell you what I would like. I would like people to be passionate about this issue, because we are sitting at a crossroads. This could be the most liberatory technology that the human race has seen since the printing press. Or it could be the most horrific mechanism for dictatorship the world has ever seen.
AI is here. It has many faces, perhaps unlike our movies dreamed they would be like. And every face you see, everything you see on screen, in the cinema or at home in front of your television, is brought to you in part by AI, our new medium, our new storyteller.
I hope we keep the human heart in it and the human soul in it. I just don't think AI can replace that.
I have to agree.
Yeah, my name is Ghan Patel. I am a writer of fiction and music, and I have a podcast called Spacetime Diaries, which is sort of a musical sci-fi adventure. My day job, I'm a software engineer for a tech company. I build web applications to pay the rent.
My name is Rick Kelly. I've worked in the film industry since 1992 as an assistant director and sometimes director.
My name's Kawandeep Virdee. You can call me Kavan. And I am a creative technologist. I explore emerging technologies and make creative things out of it. Really curious what's possible. And I'm particularly interested in making things that are sort of playful and collaborative and creative.
My name's Armanda Costanza, and this is my wife.
I'm Merissa Costanza. I'm a script supervisor.
And I work in the camera department.
My name's Dr. Brandt Dainow. I'm an assistant professor in the computer science department of the National University of Ireland, Maynooth. I'm also and mainly employed as an ethical reviewer for the European Union. And I probably spend about 10 to 20% of my time knocking back really horrific artificial intelligence projects that people would like to build, which would just make a mess of the planet or civilization or both.
I think what'll be really cool is it'll be a snapshot of our time right now. You know, like this moment in time while things are in flux that, you know, a year from now, 2 years, 5 years from now, you will have captured the moment.